What is up, guys? Happy Friday. Whoops, that was an accident. How's everyone doing? Welcome to this Friday night stream. We're gonna be doing some. What is going on here? Where's my camera? Top down. Huh. That's really weird. My camera just disappeared. There we go. Camera's back. All right. So, welcome to the stream, guys. Sorry, a few tech issues. Hope everyone can hear me okay. I'm going to be getting into some painting. So today I'm working on a Leviathan Dreadnought, Chaos Leviathan Dreadnought, that I converted up from a actually a Blood Angels Leviathan Dreadnought. And the reason I used the Blood Angels one is because the Blood Angels ones actually have trim. So I thought it'd be nice to have some Chaos trim. So I filed off all the Blood Angel symbols and I added in a Chaos Star, a little banner, a skull thing here. I added like a little curse book on the shoulder pad. So it's gonna be for my Thousand Sons / Emperor's Children. And then I got some weapons here. I thought this was a Storm Cannon, but apparently it's a Cyclonic Melt-A-Lance. And then I got the two different close combat weapons. And then I got the little missiles. So that's what we're gonna be working on today. Let me know what you guys are working on if you are working on anything. I will get the music started in a sec, but before I do, I need to talk about something. And for those of you that followed me on Instagram today, you might be aware of what I'm going to be talking about, but there's been a little bit of, I guess, drama in the in my circles, and I just want to address some accusations that were made against me and just some like false narratives that are spreading. So for those of you that don't know, on Monday, I recorded an episode of Competitive Corner. And during that episode, about 50 minutes in, I made a statement regarding an incident at Nova 2019 with James Kelling. And I told you guys my truth. I told you guys, well, first of all, actually, I didn't even want to tell that story. And that's something that I've kept to myself for almost over 2 years, that I've never told anyone. I've maybe told one or two people close to me, but I've never made it public. I never made that story public because it didn't seem like it was like a I just don't like starting internet drama, to be honest. You know, obviously I joke around and I'm sarcastic sometimes, but like when it comes to actually like internet drama or like fights and stuff, that's not something I like to do. And for the most part, it's been 2 years. I thought this issue was resolved. Everyone had moved on with their life. And then, as I explained in the video, what happened was, and I'm going to show you guys all of the receipts. So this is the important thing, and I want you guys to understand that why I'm frustrated with this situation is because I feel like things are being said about me, but like no one's providing any sort of evidence or any sort of proof except me. And all of the proof proves my side of the story. And all of the evidence against me is just hearsay and speculation and all sorts of things. So I'm going to go through kind of what happened. And I won't go through the whole story on Monday. If you guys want to know what happened exactly, basically there was me and James played a game. He scored his secondaries incorrectly. And then after the game, after I discovered that he had scored his secondaries incorrectly, I talked to the TO, Phil. I talked to the TO Phil and I said, hey, my opponent like didn't do these scores correctly, and what should I do? And he said, well, if you get your opponent, and if it's true, then you can switch the scores so that you actually end up winning the game. So your opponent took illegal secondaries, which is not my fault, it's his fault. And that's what I did. I messaged James, and on Monday's show, and if you go, I've pinned the episode up on my YouTube, you can actually see the video, including screenshots of messages I sent to James that night at 6 o'clock saying, hey man, this was a mistake that you made. I talked to Phil. You clearly can't do this. I should have won that game. You shouldn't have won that game. Now, my whole point, and the other thing I said was, stop lying about what happened and take ownership of the fact that this happened. Like every story, every time this is brought up, I'm made into be the bad guy because I found out that he took the illegal secondaries, and somehow that's my fault. And that's a story I hadn't told for 2 years. But what happened was, and I'm going to show you guys all of my screenshots here because I want to make sure everyone has proper context for what I'm talking about. So on, no, this is not the right one. So on, is this the right one? Nope, next one. Is that the right one? Let me see here. So on, let me see. Yeah, I'm not going to swear today because I don't want to get demonetized again. Let me just see here, guys. I'm just going to pull it up. So basically what happened was last week, and I explained this exactly in that original post. I explained why I even started talking about it. It's because in the 40K Facebook group that we're part of, there was a basically there was a topic around the new Games Workshop missions, and I pointed out, and I'm going to show you guys right here. I pointed out that there was a rule in there. Here we go. One sec, guys. All right, so here we go, guys. So here's what it looks like. So I pointed out on that, in that chat, this is exactly what I said. I said to Mike Brandt, and I said, the Jim Vassal clause after the shit show I caused at Nova, last Nova, sorry, Mike, in jest, because I thought it was funny. And he actually put a GIF here, like laughing basically. And that's all I said. I didn't call out anyone. I didn't bring up anything else about the incident. I just said, because Mike knew what I was talking about and it was directed at Mike Brandt. And so I brought up, that issue with, I made a joke to Mike thinking that he would get what I was talking about because he was obviously involved. And I left it at that. But then what happened was, I had the teammates of, where is it here? The teammates of James come in and say some things in the chat, reply to me, and I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. So just so, again, I want to show you guys exactly what was said. So the first message that was said was this. So David Penn, sorry, no, that's not the right one. I'll show you the next one. So the first thing was said by Scott. He said, is this when you complain to the TOs? This is what Scott said. Between days of Nova to have a submitted score from the previous round changed without talking to your opponent beforehand. So he accused me right there of basically behind the back of James going to the TOs and trying to get the score changed. And I very clearly showed on Monday that I literally messaged James and I said, hey man, your score is incorrect. And I showed you guys that on Monday. So this was already a lie and basically trying to drag me through the mud. Mike Brandt, who's the GW head of events, comes to my defense and says he and his opponent, to be fair, both talked with me about it together and separately to avoid any pressure to give a half answer. So what that means is we each told Mike what happened, and Mike made a determination that James was in the wrong and I was in the right, and then they changed the scores. And then I replied to Scott. I said, first of all, I immediately messaged my opponent right after the game, which I did. I showed you guys screenshots on Monday of that message. It was his fuck up and mistake, which was also true, not mine. He was super aware of it the whole time. So my point with the super aware was, as soon as the fuck up happened and I messaged him, he knew. Now, there's people claiming that James didn't know until the next morning and I was trying to ambush him. And I'm going to prove you guys that's wrong because it's literally admitted to in the next segment of this thing. He says, James replies to me, he says, that's some creative remembrance you have there. So he's disputing my account of events, which is that I didn't tell him, or he wasn't aware of it that night, which is totally false, and I'm going to prove it in a second here. And then his other buddy, Dan, and again, I don't know these guys. I've never met any of these guys. I have no ill will towards them, says, it's nice to have this in writing. It's something you think people will just understand. Glad you spent the whole night ruminating over your fuck up to get it overturned by the event organizer over his own judges. So he's now saying that it's my fuck up. He's saying that he thinks I spent the whole night plotting to get the scores fucked up, over, like, ruminating over it. No, like, it wasn't my fuck up. That was James's fuck up. That was not my mistake. It was James's mistake. And I said, it is what it is, because Mike Brandt was basically saying, stop fighting, stop having this like battle. And I said, okay, I'm gonna walk away. And he accused me of being a win at all cost player. All right, next, I'm gonna play some audio today. So now why am I having a second video about this? You guys are probably asking. Well, I went to open my Spotify today, and I subscribe to a number of 40K podcasts. And what do you know? That I would open my 40K podcast, and this is what I would see. So I want you guys to see this outrageous thing that I saw today. I'm gonna share it with you guys. Yeah, I'm not even a good player. So those are those two screens. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you guys one more thing. Is that it? No. Come on, guys. Why am I so bad at tech? So then today, this is what I open up to see, and I want you guys to take a look at this. Spotify. I open Spotify and I see this Flying Monkeys podcast by Brian Hunter. And Brian, I've been on Brian's podcast before. I have no ill will towards him, so I'm not sure why he would do this. He titles his episode Jim Vessel's Heel Turn. So I was like, that's weird. Why is he talking about me? I have no ill will towards him. So then I play the podcast, and I want you guys to listen to me, and I'm going to talk to you guys through what was said. So I'm going to shut up for a sec, and I'm going to play the podcast. So hopefully you guys can hear this.
Was involved somewhat, and the reason that I want to talk about it is it was brought up and brought public. I'm not sure the reasons why. It kind of seems weird.
Okay, so first of all, this is the first frustrating part. Brian went as far as to put my name in his podcast and also bring this up as a subject on a show, but he didn't even bother to watch the video, because if he had, he would know exactly why I brought it up. He thinks that I just brought it up out of the blue, and you guys are going to listen. Continue.
Come out of nowhere and be there. But Jim Vessel, for those who don't know, he was on the show a couple weeks ago. You know, we talked about influencers, and I did appreciate some of his thoughts, but for whatever reason,
he keeps saying for whatever reason,
Jim has decided that in his podcast he was gonna come out and say some things about James Kelling. And for those who don't know, I do need to stipulate, I think James Kelling's a friend of mine. James Kelling's a friend of Ben's. Good dude. And Jim's decided he's gonna drag him to the mud a little bit.
Okay, so first thing, I'm now all of a sudden I'm being characterized as the bad guy. So Brian's interpretation at this point is that me, for no reason particularly, doesn't even know why, I come out of the blue and I just want to drag James's name through the mud. That is not what happened. As I showed you guys, I made a comment and his whole team, including James, accused me of lying and started piling on in that chat, accusing me of being win at all costs, accusing me of mischaracterizing what happened. So Brian, dude, I have nothing wrong with you, but you got to get your facts straight, because the way that you've characterized these events is completely false. And I just showed you guys the receipts.
And so it's a frustrating situation, and I'm gonna turn it over to Ben from there. That's kind of my hot take up front, but
now we have Ben Sherwin, who I've played once at Nova, that same Nova, at the Invitational, who is one of James's teammates. So now we have two people on this podcast, neither of which were actually involved in the situation, neither of which are James. Let's hear what he has to say.
And you want to take over?
Yeah, well, real quick. I've only had a positive game with James, so that's my take on it too.
Yeah,
great.
James Kelling's a good dude.
Yeah.
So, period.
I've had lots of people have positive games against me. That doesn't mean that James didn't fuck up.
Well, the first thing I'm going to start off is I've played Jim Vessel, and I can tell you that, and he's going to hate me for saying this, but you fell on a lucky stick. You had a good list that worked in the meta, and you did well with it. But the type of player that I kind of see you as is somebody who will withhold information so that you can get a one-up. I'll give you an example in our game. which is true. I should have known this rule because, you know,
Okay, so first of all, Ben says I'm gonna hate him for what he said. No, I don't hate him. I had a really good list, and I played it into I played it to the best, and I don't hate him for that. So that's totally fine for him to say that. I have nothing wrong with that. Now he's played one game against me, and he's accusing me of the kind of player that would withhold information for no particular reason. So let's see what he has to say.
why shouldn't I have all the rules for everyone else's army memorized? But
So
in our
apparently
game,
it's up to me to tell him every
he
rule
has
again of my
Slanesh,
army.
which fights first and switches with me, right? I asked about, you know, what abilities they had, and then he had no CP to interrupt, so I went and fought somewhere else, and then he fought and killed my my Autark, which could have killed his Contorted Epitome. And I kind of felt like he was like purposely not telling me about it, which is fine, you know, it's a high level game.
Okay, so Ben literally says he asked me about the abilities, which I don't recall, and I'm not sure like what he asked, but at the start of the game, I go through my entire list with everyone, and it's not up to me. Like if he had asked me at that combat phase, hey, can you fight with like anything? Is there any way you can fight or anything like that? I would have answered truthfully. I always do. But somehow I'm supposed to remind him in the combat phase the order of which he's supposed to fight. That's on me in a high level competitive game. And then he even goes on to say that that's fine. So let's continue.
But at the same time, I never do that to my opponent. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, okay, well, when you're done selecting, I'm going to pick my Contorted Epitome or whatever because she fights first. You know what I'm saying? I never want to win with a gotcha. So that's my first impression of Jim.
He thinks I gotcha'd him because I didn't tell him exactly how to play the game.
Otherwise, he was just going to get demolished, and he CP'd that, and that
Sure.
was his strategy, which
Okay.
also to me flabbergasted me.
Well, that's
So
your
there's
choice.
my
I can play the game how I
background on
want.
Jim. And then I'm going to give you the background on what happened at Nova. He goes out and calls James a liar afterwards, and on his podcast, he recently said that. Let me tell you what happened.
3 years post event too, right?
Again, Ben is saying that I'm calling James a liar, and Brian, who's hosting the podcast, is agreeing with him, but has no context of actually what happened. He literally was not he was not like there, right? So like what is he basing that on, right? So let's continue. Sorry guys, this is
Here's
important.
post-event. Let me tell you what happened from my perspective. I'm at dinner.
From
I get a
his
text from
perspective.
James that says, "Hey, this guy says that," and he says Jim.
Did you guys catch that? He said, I'm at dinner. I'm at dinner. So this was the night of. That was the night of. So dinner, they were at dinner on 6 o'clock. And that's probably when I messaged James. And James at dinner says this.
It says that, you know, we scored wrong and that we need to change it. What should I do?
Perfect. So James and Ben both have admitted that at dinner the night before, I messaged James to tell him that he scored wrong. So this whole narrative that I tried to secretly behind their backs get the scores changed is completely a lie, and they just admitted it on the episode. So let's continue.
And I told him, Mike, well, tell Mike to grab the score sheets because we all had to turn in paper score sheets and go over it. That's all you got to do because he picked a secondary that doesn't stack. Now that is James's fault. 100%.
That is James's fault, 100%, and he admits it.
But to go and when I look online, this dude is all over this fucking shit talking and tactics, talking about how he knew something was weird and like he should have beaten James because somebody in shit talking tactics posted a picture of their score from Nova, making fun of him already in shit talking tactics. So he's losing his mind already. So to me,
I was not losing my mind. Literally, someone in the Nova in that chat tagged me and said Jim lost his game. And then about 45 minutes later, I was like, hey, stand by. I don't know if I actually lost because of this. And then it turns out that I didn't win. I was not losing my mind. If you want to now, if Ben wants to produce those messages where I was losing my mind in the chat, I welcome him to do so. I welcome him to show that I was losing my mind. But I literally was just like, no, I didn't actually lose. Stand by because James didn't score correctly.
You look like a wound up baby child man making excuses as
So
to why you
personal
lost.
attacks?
And even if the score is wrong, to me, once it's submitted, it's final.
Oh, okay. So Ben's position is, if I can get away with something, and look, I'm not going to say that James did it on purpose, but Ben's position, and I want you guys to understand this, Ben's position is, if I can get the score submitted and you don't catch that I didn't score correctly, then too bad, so sad. I deserve to win the game. And even if I discover before the next round that there's a way to fix it, that we can amend the fact that I played illegally, Ben's position is, if I can get the score in, that's basically home free. I'm home free. What kind of fucking position is that? That's an awful position to have. That shows someone that like literally doesn't care at all about like being honest there. So let's continue.
You know what I mean? If you guys made a mistake, you should have caught that in scoring.
Oh, okay,
End of
so it's up to
story.
me to catch his scoring
Because,
mistakes. It's
James
my fault
made
again.
an honest mistake and took something that didn't stack. And for those of you who don't know,
He even
Vessel
admits
beat Nick
James made the
Nadavanti,
mistake.
not because he's a better player,
That's never been
because
in dispute.
but because he willingly did not tell him like, hey, those secondaries don't stack. And then at the
Oh,
end
okay.
of the game,
Hold on.
said, you won't get in.
Let's hear that again. Let's hear that again. This is actually the part that bothers me. Let's hear that again.
Didn't stack. And for those of you who don't know, Vessel beat Nick Nadavanti not because he's a better player,
Okay.
but because
Listen
he
to this.
willingly did not tell him like, hey, those secondaries don't stack.
Okay.
And then at the end,
So he just accused me of willingly not telling Nick that his secondaries didn't stack in a game we played at the Canadian Tabletop Championships in 2009. And I messaged Nick today because I want you guys to understand that this is also a lie. And I said, and this is literally our chat from today. So I'm going to show you guys. So this is my chat with Nick today. Where is it? Come on, stupid buggy. Okay, this is my chat with Nick today, and I want you guys to see this. And this is the message that I sent to Nick. I said, "Hey Nick." This is literally what I said. "Hey Nick, did you really tell people I purposely didn't tell the secondary stack in that game we played at that game we played in Ottawa? Like I did it to you on purpose?" And he's like, "No. This is getting blown out of proportion. One dude asked me a question about the game, which I answered, and then said it was my fault for not reading." And I said, "I know, man. I literally have people saying I did it to you on purpose." He's like, "I hate the internet. I'm sorry." So Nick literally apologizes that like this shit show is even happening. So so again, now Ben is making another lie. So this is the second lie that he's been caught in. Okay, let's continue.
the game said, you won't get any points there because those don't stack. That's the kind of player Jim Vessel.
So he's accusing me of being the kind of player that would. So this is Ben's position. He thinks in both games that I lied to my opponents, didn't tell them about the secondaries not stacking, and then at the end of the game tried to gotcha them. So first of all, that's a lie. But second of all, it's even if that was the case, even if I knew that they didn't stack, which I didn't, it's ultimately still that player's fault for choosing those secondaries. It's not onto me. Now, I would never do that, and I help my opponents ask me what secondaries to take. I help them. I walk them through it. I tell them, hey, you can get this. You can get 3 points on this, blah, 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 blah. I've never done anything like that. And so for him to accuse me of purposely doing it, it's a lie, and it's complete slander.
Integrity. Get fucked, bro. Like, seriously.
Now he tells me to get
you
fucked.
You are slime compared to James.
So he says I'm
James
slime.
Would never withhold information like that. Like that secondary doesn't stack. So
well,
I
he
mean,
might not
you
withhold
can come out and
information,
call him
Ben,
out.
but what he would do is try to score an illegal game and then try to take the win. So maybe he won't withhold information, but he'll do something that, in my eyes, is just as slimy.
liar and a cheater all he want, but the one who is the piece
I
of shit
didn't-
here is you, bro.
I didn't, and he calls me a
100%.
piece of shit.
Okay? I don't go out there and tell people that take secondaries that don't stack. That's like taking two.
So again, he's making this accusation that I have been going out telling these. James is apparently number 4 in the ITC, as you're going to hear. Nick Nadavati, one of the best players in the world. Apparently, I'm a corrupt influence on them, and I'm able to tell them that their secondaries that don't stack and convince these top level players to illegally score their games. Like, does that make any sense to you guys, that I would somehow have this ability to like trick Nick Nanavati and James Kelling, who are apparently excellent players, and I'm just a piece of shit on a log, that to take secondaries? Like I have some power. Guess what? You don't choose your opponent's secondaries. Your opponent does. So that's, again, just, it's completely nonsensical.
Secondaries from the same category at the current missions. I'm going to tell them they don't work together. You would let them take it and then tell them they don't get
That's a
any
lie.
points for it. Yeah, that means you're not good at 40K, bro.
That's a lie.
So why don't you just step back and take a self-evaluation? All right? Because you're not it. Also, you haven't won shit since then, so James is like, what, 4th in the ITC?
Okay, so this is the thing I find hilarious. I haven't won shit since then. Yeah, you know what? Literally, after August of last year, if you want to know my life story, before the LVO, I went and I opened a restaurant for 4 months, and I didn't play in any tournaments. You can go look at my tournament record. I think between August, I maybe played one event, and then I didn't play again until LVO. And then guess what happened right after LVO? COVID, bro. So the fact that I literally have 0 events logged in the entire ITC. Do you think that's by choice? And then you're going to go turn around and hold up the fact that James is 4th in the ITC in a season where half the players can't even compete is some sort of like badge of honor. Cool, man. Good for you. But don't try to pretend that that's some sort of like achievement.
Get out of here.
Won him a couple GTs along the way too. So
Great for James.
yeah, that's
Congratulations,
kinda,
man.
I don't know. It all just it just stinks of like weird to me. I don't know if I get that some of us are content creators. We want to put stuff out.
So Brian, again, now he's like, I don't understand why he started this. Why did Jim say these things? Now he's going to accuse me of trying to create traffic for my site by starting this whole thing. When, as I showed you guys,
But like the time
I didn't start this. James's teammates and James started this on Monday when they accused me of cheating and lying, and I had to address it.
weird. The choosing to do it now is weird. And
So he's
I'm
like,
not
he doesn't
sure if just
understand the
wants some
choosing of
kind
it.
relevancy out of it. You know, if that's why it got brought up. But you know, really since that list went away, and he hasn't really won or done anything. So you know, just maybe just stirring up controversy on the podcast is where it's at for him. So
So he's again
it's,
accusing me.
It is kind of shitty. That's at the expense of
He's like a 40K Valley girl. He just wants fucking attention.
I don't want attention.
That's all
well.
that I want. That's why I wear shorts.
At least you're open about it. At least you're open about it. You know, and I also think there's something to be said for having a little bit of class. Like it's, you know, 3 years after the fact.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that. So Brian, if you're listening to this, man, I got nothing against you, but you literally, the entire podcast, you had everything wrong there, bro. First, you accused me of not understanding why I brought it up, which I didn't. James and his teammates started it. They brought it up. Second, now you're saying that I have low class because 3 years later I didn't let it go. Do you know who didn't let it go? The people that brought it up again, right? And then you're accusing me of trying to create attention. No, dude, I just was trying to defend myself because I had multiple people pile on and accuse me of trying to screw over James and be some sort of nefarious 40K mastermind that is able to convince all these top level players to take the wrong secondaries, even though they've played hundreds of games, and somehow cheat. Like, that is so incoherent. That's not even a thing.
You know, if it was that big of a problem, you've had plenty of opportunity to hash it out and talk it out, and to put out this whole thing. You know, and like today he did. He basically, you know, there's a place on the internet where some people go that is kind of a shit talking place, and you know, basically Jim was in there lying about the conversation between him and James.
How was I lying? I literally showed screenshots on Monday of our conversation. So Brian, now having not seen my video, not understanding why that I even brought it up, is accusing me of lying, is accusing me of getting attention, is accusing me of trying to like start some sort of shit when I literally had already moved on many, many years ago, didn't ever think about it, and I have 3 of James's teammates starting that shit. So how is it that I'm the one that is accusing James of lying? The only liar is James and whoever else for not characterizing the events properly.
And someone tagged in James, and James is like, that's not at all how it went down or how it was said.
And to be fair, and here's the thing, to be fair, when I made the first message, I didn't even bring up James, did I? Right? You guys saw. I didn't even bring up James. I literally just said, hey, Mike, this was because of the shit show at Nova. James's teammates are the ones that started turning it into about that situation. They brought up the fact that, and then they started accusing me. So, Brian, again, you're mischaracterizing the facts, bro. Like, I did not start shit with James again. I was like, I'm way past it, bro. But, like, when you say that I started a topic that to accusing James of lying, that is categorically false because I never even mentioned James at all. In fact, David Penfold, the guy that replied, he's the one that starting the pot.
You know, so he was putting out this narrative out there that just was not an accurate narrative. And, you know, and then when the other person that was involved came in, you know, that's, you know, I don't know if that's what sparked the, you know, the podcast or what, but it just screams low rent to me. It's just kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, you know what's low rent?
All riled up.
You know what's low rent, Brian? Doing a whole podcast, naming it after me, and not getting any of your facts correct. That's low rent. That's something that, like, as I said, man, I got nothing wrong with you. Like, all the peace and love, but like that was the way that you treated me and the way that you mischaracterized every single step of the way and took Ben's side of this story without checking the facts. You didn't even check the video to see what I said or why I started it. You would have seen the screenshots with James. You would have seen the whole category of items leading up. You would have seen why I even brought it up in the first place, which was the fact that all the teammates piled onto me. Like, and then you turn around and try to pretend that James is the victim and his teammates are the victim and I'm the boogeyman trying to start shit. That's literally the opposite of what happened. Like, that's not even what reality is like. And then you go through, put my name in your podcast and do a whole section with Ben, who also wasn't part of that conversation, and basically drag my name through the mud and slander me. That's low rent. That's low class, if you want to know what it is. And it pisses me off. So anyways, I just wanted to get that off my chest, guys. Sorry that you had to go through that, but it's just, I thought that I was like super pissed off about it. And like, look, moving forward, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I've said my piece. I know the facts are on my side, and I just don't want any more of this to continue, because guess what? I made my peace with it 2 years ago, right? And if James wants to come out and have a big conversation and we can have a big debate, hey, all the power to him. Congratulations on 4th on the ITC. Let's see how the season ends, right? I haven't even played in a tournament in a year and a half, so I'm not sure how, like, if you feel good about dragging me through the mud and saying that I'm a shitty player because I haven't played a tournament in a year and a half, hey man, all the power to you. You're a big man for being able to do that, guys, on your podcast. I'm just here to defend myself and not let people basically say that I'm a big fucking liar, which I'm not. And I showed you guys all the receipts, and I have all the text messages, all the screenshots, every piece of factual evidence is on my side, including Mike saying, hey, Jim was right. And you guys even admitting that James is wrong, but somehow I'm still the bad guy. Like what world do you live in that I'm somehow the villain here? Makes no sense. All right, 40 minutes. That's our painting. All right. Anyways, happy Friday, guys. Hope you're doing well. Let's get some painting done. And I actually have nothing wrong with James either. Like, we had one conflict over that one specific game, and as far as I was concerned, he wasn't happy with the result, and I didn't ever think about it again. I was like, yeah, that sucks for him that he screwed it up and he had to deal with it, and those are the consequences, and he can blame me for that, but I don't take ownership of the fact that he made that mistake. But past that, I haven't thought about it until these guys started to accuse me of like cheating again, or of lying, and literally, like, you guys saw all the text messages, all the messages. When did I start anything with James? I didn't bring up anything at all regarding him. His two teammates and him piled onto me. Then one of his other teammates goes on a podcast and starts slandering me. And then Brian, who's the host of the podcast, spreads additional rumors without any sort of context, doesn't do any research, doesn't look into why any of these things happen, and just assumes a bunch of shit. So anyways, it's just frustrating. I'm gonna go get a drink. Thank you. I'll be right back. All right. Like, fuck, I wish I had the ability. Like, it's just a series. This is ultimately the reason that they are all upset is because I stood my ground on James incorrectly picking those secondaries, and they were all mad that he ended up losing. And somehow James, to his teammates, which obviously I don't like. Look, I have no ill will towards his teammates. I've played Ben once. I think he's fine, a good guy, no problems with him. But then don't lie about it. That's all my issues. Don't lie about it, because I literally showed you guys on Monday the messages I sent to James. Everything about this whole situation seems to make me seem like the bad guy. Like I tricked James. He has agency, and he's an adult, and he chose his own. He dug his own grave here, right? And the fact that Ben lied about my game with Nick also is fucked up, right? So he's now spreading rumors about my game with Nick. Nick literally said that's not what happened, and that's 1000% didn't happen. And I've beat Nick before in other games, and I've beat other really great players in other games. So like I don't need to prove myself. I have nothing to prove to you guys. Anyways, I'm drinking a strawberry watermelon margarita ghost from Spectrum Beer Co. in Vancouver. So anyways, all right, so let's get some airbrushing done. Okay, that was cathartic. Thank you for listening. Thank you everyone for sticking through that. I know that was probably not what you guys tuned into see, but it was just really important to me that I got that off my chest, because I really felt like my character was under attack. And everyone, like, if you've had a bad game with me, then tell me and I will try to do better. But I just don't understand. I've never done anything like that kind of dishonest shit. I've never done anything like that. And so for someone to accuse me of that, with zero like evidence or anything like that, and just say that like, oh yeah, this is like what happened as factual, when I literally showed all the receipts to you guys saw exactly what happened, including the messages, including everything, and from Nick, including the messages in the chat where all his teammates. So it's anyways. All right. Sorry guys, that was intense. Okay, so I'll tell you guys a few other things I'm working on. So I got some Noise Marines here that I converted. I'll show you guys. So these are Noise Marines that I converted with from the Chaos Space Marine kit. I have them up on my Instagram. I'm gonna throw in some music now that I'm more calm, and I can listen to some things. So let's see here. Let's listen to some lo-fi. No, this is not the one I want. Sometimes I have these like streaming playlists, and they're like, oh yeah, they're Twitch safe or they're YouTube safe, and then I play them, and then I get a DMCA. So I gotta be really careful about. Okay, so these are basically the new Chaos Space Marine kits. You can see them. Let's see here. The new Chaos Space Marine kits, the weapons, the Blastmasters are from, Delish Hollywood. It's just that video is demonetized because I swore too much, and I was too aggro, I guess. So the weapons are from Pop Goes the Monkey. These are the Blastmasters, and then the Sonic Blasters, and then the backpacks, which are these kind of cool Sonic backpacks, are from Cromlech, and then the bodies are Chaos Space Marines. And I did all of them with bare heads, so they all have these kind of like bare heads with like the grills, so it looks like they're yelling. And then there's actually in that kit where you get these Blastmasters, there's actually 3 that are like one-handed. So I got some guys that are doing it one-handed, and then this guy here this guy here is the banner bearer. So I got, this is an old Slanesh banner. I don't know if you guys remember the boob snake guy, the like Chaos Lord on boob snake, and he was like this like 6 boob thing. He had this big back banner, so I drilled it into his banner, and that's gonna be like my icon of excess if I ever want one. And then this guy here, I'm actually really happy with this guy. This is the champion of the unit, and I actually converted this. I don't know if you can see that. So I converted this from Lord Eidolon from 30k. So this is a Lord Eidolon model. It's magnetized, obviously, because he's got a lightning claw here. So it's like Eidolon's body, a new arm to represent for like a plastic arm, and then he's got a one-handed Blastmaster and a lightning claw. And so that's the champion of the unit, and obviously he's got a cloak. They're from Shapeways, so I got them off Shapeways. I actually didn't even know you could order directly from Pop until recently. So, but yeah, I usually just get them off Shapeways, and so that's that. And then I also got this guy. So this is a Chaos Dreadclaw assault pod, and what I did was, I'm gonna see if I can zoom out here for a sec, guys, so you guys can see. Okay, so what I did was, so normally it comes with a flying stand, but I kind of was a little bit tricky. I was a little bit worried about it.
The Joe Rogan.
I was a little bit oh shit! What the hell? The Joe Rogan podcast just started to play. There we go. So I was a little concerned about the flying stand, so I made a custom flying stand. This is basically a, I put some like resin bits on here, and that's just a piece of brass rod. And what I did was I put a magnet on the end, and I put a little magnet here. And then what I did was I drilled into, let me see if I can find it. I drilled in a hole here into this part of it with my power drill. And I made a little slot here where there's actually another magnet, and then there's another magnet in the bottom. So basically it does this. So this way it slots in onto the flying base, because this is how these models actually are play. They're like literally flying they don't land like traditional drop pods. So this way it won't twist either. So this way for transport I can pull it out, keep them separate, and then for gameplay I can just slot that in just like that. And this won't twist because it's magnetized on the top and the bottom, and it'll also lift up with it like that. So that's the Dreadclaw as well. So I need to get all 3 of these units, the Leviathan, the Noise Marines, and the Dreadclaw, painted for my league game next Thursday, or at least like 3 colors minimum, so that I get my battle ready points. So that's what we're gonna work on today. We're gonna work on it for about another 45 minutes, guys, just because I have dinner plans tonight, and I have some company coming over, and I gotta actually cook dinner. So let's get into it. So what I've done with the Dreadnought so far, and by the way, guys, thanks again for listening to my crazy rant. I just appreciate you guys listening and staying tuned, and hopefully spreading the truth, finding the truth, and just knowing the kind of person I am. But I'm gonna take off my hat because it's really fucking hot. Actually, I'm gonna turn on my air conditioner because it's really fucking hot. But yeah, I do appreciate it. Yeah, so the Dreadclaw is actually super nasty. It's I made some so the Dreadclaw is really cool. I'll tell you what I'm making for dinner in a sec. But basically, there's 2 things that I really like about it. First, when it lands, it has a flying profile. I think it moves 12 inches a turn. So it has on the charge. So it's 4 attacks base. It's got hateful assault, so 5 attacks. There's strength 12, AP 3 damage. Yeah. So Dr. Dude, it's actually like kind of nasty. And a fun thing to do is like you drop them, you disembark, and you just charge them in. And like say you still have your they like eat things for breakfast, right? Because it's like flat 3 damage, AP 3 hits. So they're actually pretty nasty for tagging stuff. So I'm excited to get that going. I actually have another one of them, but it's not built yet. So what I've done for this guy here is I've just basically did a prime black, and then I did a full prime basically with oh yeah, and then if it moves over a unit, this is really cool. So if it moves over a unit on a 2 to 5, it does D3 mortal wounds, and on a 6 it does D6 mortal wounds, but it's -2 from that roll if it's a character. So you can't do D6 to a character, but it still can do mortal wounds and stuff as it flies over stuff. So it's 115 points, which is pricey, but like, I mean, it's pricey compared to a raider for sure. But when you compare it to like a rhino, like it's actually like what you gain, I think, is like way better. You get fly, you get the close combat attacks. You get about a similar defensive stat. I think it's maybe 1 less toughness. Rhino's toughness 7, and I think Rhino's 10 wounds. So you get 1 less toughness, 1 less wound. But you get fly, you get the attacks, you get the mortal wounds, and you get the turn 1 deep strike anywhere on the board. The other cool thing about it, the chaos ones, is that you don't actually have to disembark on the turn they come down. So unlike the Space Marine ones, which is like the unit must immediately disembark, the wording on the chaos ones is like the unit can disembark, which means that you can potentially drop down your drop pods, and then with like Emperor's Children, which is the way I run them, charge them into stuff full of like noise marines, for instance, fight stuff, and then when your opponent kills it, a bunch of fucking shit pops out, right? And they can also hold a dreadnought or 3 obliterators. So the way I'm running mine is I have 2. I have 1 with 10 noise marines, and then I have 1 with 3 obliterators and Lucius. So they all drop down in the same little vicinity. Lucius gives them all reroll 1s because he can fit in with the obliterators, and then he can also charge and do other stuff as well. So yeah, that's it. All right, so I'm gonna start some airbrushing here. All right, so get my little airbrush. So now I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Thousand Suns blue, because these are Thousand Suns. Well, okay, so it's not technically Thousand Suns. So the way that I have painted my Chaos Army, yeah, that would be great, Dr. Dudes. That'd be too strong though, probably. The way that I've painted my Chaos Army, hey Camabos, thanks for subscribing, is that I have my Thousand Suns portion, and then all my Chaos Space Marine stuff, so like my Obliterators, my Bikers, my thanks man, I appreciate it. Anyone else who has business bucks, throw them my way. The way I've painted is I have my Thousand Suns, which are painted traditional Thousand Suns, blue and gold, and then all my Chaos Space Marines. So my actual Chaos Space Marines, Havocs, I got like everything that is on the Chaos Space Marine book exclusive. I've also painted in the Thousand Suns scheme and give them Thousand Suns decals, and I run them as a custom chapter called Sons of Magnus. So they're kind of like a basically like a set of Chaos Space Marines, like a legion of Chaos Space Marines that have allied in with the Thousand Suns, but they're still a separate legion. And that part of that army, which includes things like my Obliterators and my Noise Marines, I run as Emperor's Children, or I run as whatever I want, because I can. So when I actually build my list, I have all my like non-Thousand Sun stuff, even though it's painted as Thousand Suns, as Emperor's Children, etc. Okay, does that make sense? I'm gonna have some of my drink. And I just spilled all over myself. Great. All right. So I got this really cool, I would highly recommend this. I have an Infinity, but this thing here, so I used to adjust all my pressure down on my airbrush, but I got this, it's a quick release, but it's like a quick release pressure valve, and I can actually adjust my pressure just from here. So if I need to go lower pressure, I can do that, which I'm doing right now. And I can keep my airbrush at high pressure as well. Dr. Dudes, man, thanks for subscribing, man. Okay, so let's get in here. Actually, I'll do, man, it's been a while since I've airbrushed. I feel rusty. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And I feel rusty right now. It's been a while since I've been airbrushing. So the Inky by Darkness is like a good base coat. I'm gonna leave that mostly. I'm gonna cover that mostly up, but I'm gonna leave a little bit in the kind of bottom halves of the areas. And I'm not too worried about the, like right now on the legs, it's really hard to get a good gradient with the airbrush just because they're so small, the toes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit the tops, and then I'm going to actually glaze in a little bit of Drakenhof Nightshade to do the shading on the toes. So here, I'm gonna show you guys a little trick. Well, it's not really a trick. I don't think I didn't invent it, but it's care of one Kenny Boucher, which is a little hobo shield. That's what he calls it. So what I want to do here is I'm just gonna take a little piece of card here. The Spectrum's good. Full disclosure, my company actually owns Spectrum. It's one of the beers that like my company produces, so I get these for basically for free. My boss actually dropped me off like a bunch of these, but these ones are actually really good. It's like it's a watermelon margarita ghost, so it's like a beer, but it's quite light. It's almost like a little sour, but it's got a little sweetness, but not like sweet. It almost reminds me of like a dry cider a little bit in a beer. It's really refreshing on a summer day. 8-bit sweater. The league started on Monday, so it's 2-week rounds, and yeah. So what I'm gonna do here is, because I don't want any I want to keep this gradient here. This is like, I didn't do a lot of work on the legs here, but the front top is kind of the most prominent, so I want to keep that gradient. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my this piece of paper, just like that, and keep that nice sharp line of that gradient. It's almost like a now, so you got that, and now when I go back in like this, I can kind of maintain that gradient like that. So see how there's like, now there's like a fade here, so I did an overspray. Yeah, they also have some no sugar ciders, which are really good too. I just find in the summer, like, sometimes I don't want too like heavy beers. Yeah, the ancient Persian style. Warped with Rain, not yet. The breweries that like our brewery is only in Canada right now, but I think they are working on getting it down to the States. Okay, so that's kind of the blue. I'm not gonna do the weapons today, guys, just because I want to actually like, sometimes I like to get the body done first. So now to my Thousand Suns blue, I'm gonna add a little bit of Armin blue. Throw it on the okay. I think it's not actually okay. It's a Cyclomeltalance, but I thought it was a Storm Cannon. So I assembled the wrong, because I ordered all the different arms, and I think I just assembled the wrong one. So I should probably go do the Storm Cannon, but yeah, so Shane, I normally drink White Claws too, because I'm trying to also lose weight. But yeah, so I hear ya. So add a little flow improver. Okay. Now I'm gonna go a little slower with the airbrush. Yeah. Well, that's why I've been drinking a lot of like I don't know, like a gin and like lime is okay. Um But yeah, and like as far as I'm concerned, Brian owes me an apology, a public apology for like he needs to go on his podcast and basically apologize and say that he got the facts wrong and that like he's not going to comment on the situation, but that he did get a lot of facts wrong and that like because for me now that he's got this podcast, that's all that's left up and he's left up that episode and it's full of lies. And I talked to him about it today too. I was like, hey bro, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like why did you make a whole podcast slandering me and you weren't even there and you don't even know the story, and not only that but you're incorrect on all of the facts. Like they think it's some insult to me that I haven't been playing 40k and I'm not good at 40k right now. Like that bothers me in some way. Trust me, it doesn't. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to my hobo shield, as Kenny would call it. Oh yeah, my dinner. Sorry. So I made crispy tofu with a orange chicken. Honey garlic sauce and like some stir fried vegetables and rice. You know, I'm having 2 girls over, so gotta be healthy. And I don't want to do I might be going drinking later, so I figured. And I worked out today, went to the gym. Yep. So I figured try to be a little bit healthier for dinner in case I end up drinking my calories later. Okay. So there's that step. The color balance is fucked on this. Let me see if I can fix that. The white balance. Like that's not the color it looks like. Oh, that's a little bit better. Let me see here. I guess that's... I think that's slightly better, but it's not great. Yeah, man, like, look, my identity is not based on my Warhammer performance. It's just a game to me. What's more important is that is like my integrity and like that. Like I don't care if I never win another tournament again, but I don't want people thinking that I'm some sort of fucking like Jedi. Like that whole story about how it's basically my fault both times against Nick and James that they took the wrong secondaries, even though I look, the thing you gotta understand is with Nova has its own set of missions. So like literally I didn't play a single Nova mission until Nova, so I don't know that rule set like intimately, right? If that happened in the ITC, I probably would have caught it. And what happened with me and Nick's game, I'm not quite sure, but I definitely didn't do it on purpose. It's not like I saw that he took the wrong secondary and didn't say anything. Like Nick is one of the best players in the world, and somehow I managed to trick him into taking incorrect secondaries. Like, do you know how ridiculous that sounds? That's literally like the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And if James Kelling is such a good player that he's 4th in ITC, how is I able to also trick him into taking the wrong secondaries? You know, like no one wants to take personal responsibility and say, yeah, I fucked up. I took the wrong secondaries. They were my choice, and it wasn't on Jim. It's not Jim's fault. Like that's literally like called taking responsibility. But instead, it's my fault somehow. No, it is the right blue, Ray. It's just the color balance on the camera is a little bit off. Okay, hobo shield time. Shit. I just put my finger in the paint. I wish I could have used my magic powers to win the LVO, you know? Since I'm such a... Is that, am I doing it backwards? Should the, like... Should it be bright to there and then... Oh yeah, I am doing it backwards, guys. Why don't you guys tell me? So it should be light to there and then dark underneath, right? Because the light's gonna come down and then immediately under, it's gonna get dark, right? Do I get a sore back hunch over painting? I mean, not too bad. My chair's like... My chair's actually... This is the normal height I sit my chair. And I usually paint like this with my elbows there. So I practice trying to have, like... On stream, I paint different than I normally paint because I'm trying to keep everything under the camera. But normally I would paint kind of up here. Yeah, so the way that I'm doing it, I think the light is coming from underneath. Yeah. I just like to do what looks cool, you know? Fuck physics. I'm not fixing it. I don't care. Okay. Physics can get fucked. We live in a chaos world. Anyways, yeah, so it looks on stream that I'm painting kind of weird, and I am. It's because I have to keep my hands under the camera here. But normally I would probably keep it up here and have a straight back as much as I can. Although I do end up punching a little bit. But it's something that I've been trying to train myself out of, is just like better posture when I paint. What are you guys working on? Anyway, sorry I got a little quiet there, guys. I'm still a little bit turnt from this fucking incident today. But you know what? It was actually really good because it happened right as I was getting to the gym, and I literally I was doing like bicep curls with like the bar, and I was like raging on the fucking bar, man. I was so angry. Yeah, I'm excited to try out the Dreadclaw with like a few different things. It's weird, like it's so funny, like Chaos players, we're such like fucking, we're such oh, Midlife Man, I'm so sorry about that, bro. What do you want to tell me what happened, or what happened? Yeah, anyways, I was very ragey at the gym today. Okay, Hobo Shield once more. Alright, there we go. So one thing I'm gonna do now is like, and this is a trick, is always after you've done this step of kind of like your last highlight, go back in with your base mid-tone and basically glaze that in. Oh, dude, that's so shitty. What kind of army did you lose? I saw you said you were painting drones. Was it Tau? Yeah, mostly Tau. Okay, well, hey, bro, if you want, DM me, I don't know, DM me, like, if you feel comfortable, DM me, like, your address, and I will, I don't know if you've gotten everything replaced or not, but I'll send you out some kits or something like that, because that happened to me, and when that happened to me, the community was very, they were like super awesome in like helping me get my ship back, so I always like to pay it forward. So if you want, slide into my DMs and I'll send you some Marines or some Thousand Suns if you'd like, because I got lots of those that I could probably send you. So and even if you want, I could paint a unit for you. Maybe I don't know if I have time for that, to be honest, but I can definitely send you some models. So if you're interested, don't have to, but shoot me your address in my DMs and I'll send you out some models, hopefully to help replace them. All right, so now what I'm gonna do. Oh man, you're welcome. I got my army stolen a few years ago, and the community outreach was absolutely amazing. I had literally people that I'd never met reach out to like help me out. So if there's anything I can do to kind of help you replace some of those models, just let me know. Can't promise I'm gonna send you like a full painted army, but I'll see what I can get you, because I definitely have a lot of Marines and chaos stuff that I could definitely like brand new stuff that I could just send over to you. So let me know. Let me know, and if you can, let me know kind of the things that you're hoping to replace. Okay, so now I got my I've gone back to Inky by Darkness, and this is kind of where I go in, because there's obviously lots of overspray. So now I'm going with a very thin Inky by Darkness, and I'm basically just gonna glaze this back into my shadows. And this is gonna help kind of bring that like transition a little bit back. And that kind of that shading back anywhere where I kind of oversprayed. No, I'm not a saint, man. I'm a evil, brain controlling Warhammer cheater that likes to lie about people for no particular reason and start grabbing the internet. So I don't know who you're thinking of. It's definitely not me. Haven't you heard? So what I've done is I've gone back with that Inky by Darkness and just kind of hit the bottoms of all the areas again. And this is going to kind of reinforce that, like, the darkness, I guess. And just give it like a little bit more of that, yeah, I guess it just makes it just kind of helps it pop a little bit more, because you're adding some of that contrast back in anywhere where that you've kind of oversprayed. And I'm doing a really thin glaze here because I don't want it to be too dark. Just like that. Just like that. So now I got, see, now you can notice the transition a lot more, right? Because I just kind of went in and I kind of threw in a little bit of that incubi into this dark, back in the shadows. And same with the front there. You can see that transition a lot clearer. Yeah, reinforce the darkness. Cast magic missile at the darkness. Yeah, that's also true. Let me just clean my airbrush, and that's basically all the airbrush I'm gonna do on this guy, to be honest. So now I'm gonna go in with the brush. This is my green, simple green cleaner. Pizza pies. What does the other part of army look like that this is going with? Like, what is the color scheme? No, I have a pizza restaurants, a bunch of them, and I don't know. I thought that was pretty normal to call a pizza a pie, like pizza pie, but in Canada, it's not very common. It's very classic Thousand Suns. I'll see if I can find a model. It's close by. So this is just like a random demon prince I have. So it's like blue, it's like blue and gold. You can see kind of where I'm going with the armor. Blue and gold trim, and then I do yellow accents, and then for all the horns and like teeth and stuff, I always go kind of bright green. So this is actually one of my favorite models. It's the old, if you don't recognize it, it's the old 3rd edition Chaos Space Marine Demon Prince, the metal one. This was sculpted by, I believe it was sculpted by, I want to say like Brian, I don't know. But what I did was the old one is quite hunched over. I don't know if you guys know that. The old one's like super hunched over. So what I did is I actually cut it at the legs and the hip, and I straightened the legs, and then I re-sculpted all the like whatever that's called between. And then I replaced the arms with arms from a Rat Ogre, and the head from the old metal Azrael. So this model is entirely metal, except the wings, which are the old plastic dragon wings. And then I put in these spikes. Like, these are all spikes that I kind of put into the armor, and I sculpted around them, so it looks like they're kind of coming out of the skin. I added this little tabard. This is actually from a Bloodthirster. He's got chain around his stomach. I did a shield, freehand shield here. I don't know if it was just Goodwin. I think it was like the same guy that did like Archeon. Yeah, so you used to be able to, so these slots on the wings, you used to be able to either replace with the dragon wings, or it had the backpack, the power pack, but I did the wings. So then I got a little shield. I don't know if that's also metal. There's the Demon Prince sword from, this is the actual sword the model comes with, but then I cut it off the bottom. I made a hilt for it, and I kind of have it stabbing through a space wolf. Fuck you, space wolves. So this is actually one of my my oldest models I own. But what happened was, after because it used to be a fantasy model, and I repurposed him for 40k, I kind of repainted and reconverted him. So, and he's got a little Tzeentch symbol there, freehand, and then a little Eye of Tzeentch there as well. So, oh, thanks, man. I will definitely get back to you. Okay. So yeah, so that's the scheme it's gonna be, more or less. This is an older model that I painted, but it's gonna be kind of this golden whatever scheme. So. All right, so let's get to some actual brush painting. Go away. Get my wet palette out. So look at my wet palette. It's a little, this is how long it's been since I painted. My wet palette is fucking full on crackerjack. Give me a second, I'm just gonna go hydrate it. Actually, you know what? I got a bottle of water here. Look at the magic of the wet palette. It's like those what are those like magic rocks that they had in like you know when you're a kid and you had like a rock and you put it in like the bottom of the water and then it would like turn into like an animal? That's basically my wet palette. Yeah, it's been a while since I painted, guys. I've been slacking. Cuz I had to do that Death Guard video. I do that Death Guard video, so that took me a while, and that model's been painted for a while. So just like hydrating it. You can see it's already like goopy again. It comes back to life. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, what a night. What a day. Okay, let me just give you that a sec to soak. I'm just gonna check my phone. I gotta see what to my dinner people can get here. All right. Yeah, so no, like it's not even that like I have to go make dinner because I did all my prep before 3 o'clock before the stream because I knew that I would be streaming, and but I have like they're gonna be here at 7, so I just gotta like at probably 6:45 I gotta go, 6:50. So what I do, Dr. Dutes, is 2 things. First, just like you saw, let your wet palette fully dry. So don't leave it in a state of like continuous moisture, because that's where the bacteria will breed. So every once in a while, especially like every like say like once a week, I will actually if there's like a good break of painting, I'll take the lid off and I'll literally let it fully dry out and be like super super dry out. And then when it's dry like that, obviously it doesn't grow mold. The other thing I do is I literally take it, like if say I don't have time to do that because I'm painting every day, I'll literally take it and I'll like wash it with like the same cleaner, like bleach cleaner that I use for my my airbrush, and or like I'll use like dish soap. I'm just seeing what time yeah, so that's usually what I do. All right, so I'm gonna take this. Now there's way too much water here. Pour it into my water pot. So there's fucking water everywhere. God damn it. Yeah, Mike, I do remember. Yeah, I just let it dry. Like if I'm not using it for a while, I'll just let it dry out fully. And then you can see here, it's like fully rehydrated, back to normal, completely like unhurt. I also have like I actually have a spare one of these that I just never use because I'm like, why? And I don't use their paper either because once I use up the paper that it comes with, I just use my own parchment. Mika, what's your question though? You asked me a question. Do you have another question there? A follow-up? All right, put my blues away. Okay, so what do I want? So now what I'm gonna do is my trim. And for this I need, and I really need to start writing down my colors because it's been so long since I painted Thousand Suns, I forget the golds that I use. Oh, that's awesome, Micah. Thanks, man. I think that's the right one. All right. Give you guys a little bit of zoom here. See what the fuck I'm doing. Brush I want. So I have these Artist Opus, guys. I got these Artist Opus 2 sets during the Kickstarter. And I always I like every like few months I'm like, and I never really like them, but every few months I'm like, no, I'll give them another shot. So today I'm gonna try out this Artist Opus. See how it does for me on the trim. So now I'm just gonna go through and paint the trim basically. And the reason I do this step now is because I'm basically gonna wash the trim and the armor. Well, I'm not gonna wash because that would imply that I'm going over all of it. But I'm gonna pin wash and do like a blue Drakenhof Nightshade. That's the blue ink basically from Games Workshop. That's gonna be like my dark shade color, and I'm gonna paint that into all the recesses and use that to glaze the blue even darker. But I'm also gonna use that as the wash for the gold. So, Micah, I don't remember. I feel like I have a bad memory sometimes, but I do appreciate if you've been watching my channel for that long, because it's been about 3 months since I started streaming, so I do appreciate it. Just like that. So, gonna go through, paint all the gold areas. Just like that. And guys, if you're just tuning in, YouTube or Twitch, I'd love it if you're not already subscribed or following me on the other platform to head on over and give me a like and a follow, even if you don't use Twitch or even if you prefer to watch on Twitch or over YouTube. It just helps the channel grow, the YouTube algorithm I'm at the mercy of, so anything like that is helpful. Okay. Do the skull. Yeah, I've come a long way from there. Still a long way to go though, guys. Sky's the limit. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue to do this all the trim here, and this is why I actually picked the Blood Angels Dreadnought. So the original Dreadnought actually, this skull is actually from the original Blood Angels Dreadnought. No, I don't wanna become famous. Get out of here, bot. And it actually has trim, right? So it kind of makes this chaosy. The basic Contemptor, like the normal Imperial one, doesn't have any trim on it. So the fact that the Blood Angels one has this like trim means that I can basically give it chaos, essentially chaos trim, right? Obviously it's a little bit different. It's got this kind of curled filigree motif instead of like the spikes, but it's close enough that I think it'll match up nicely with the rest of the army, like having a little bit of trim. And I had to like cut off quite a few of the Blood Angel symbols and Blood Angels bits, but I think in the end it's gonna look a lot better than just a like if I just use the plain Leviathan model, because I'm gonna have that extra bit of like chaos goodness. So right now I'm running a 10-man. I've built 13 because I had parts for 13, and I'll probably build another 7 eventually and just have 20. But the problem with more than like especially right now when there's still 1 wound, they get really expensive in big squads, and it's hard to get them around the table. Like a 20-man squad, the only thing you can really do with it is like strategic reserve, which is still really good at, because with Honor the Prince, like bringing on a 20-man block of Noise Marines on a table edge with Honor the Prince, shooting twice and then charging something, that can be really good. But the problem with strategic reserve is it's really easy to, I guess, telegraph. Like, so if I'm playing a game, so say like we're playing a game and you have 2 units into strategic reserve, right? I can basically dictate where they come on, because they can't come on my table edge, and you're not going to bring them on your table edge, which means it's going to be always one of the side table edges. And so if I don't want you to attack me, I just go to one, I just kind of I lean to one side of the table edge. And what that means is, or the center of the table, that means if you kind of come on the side, you either have no room to deploy, because like I kind of screen you out on one table edge, which forces you to come out on the other table edge, and you're so far away from me, right? So it's not the greatest way to get them on the table, and that's kind of the only way you can really run 20, because you're not gonna be able to hide them, and you just won't be able to move them across the table in anything. I mean, if you want to take a Charybdis, which is I think it holds 40 or something crazy like that, or maybe 20. Yeah, like my list that I'm running this in starts with 6 CP, and that's a list like I can use all 6 of those CP turn 1, because my Noise Marines dropping, right? With Veterans of the Long War and Prescience, and Endless Cacophony is 3 CP just on its own, plus like there's the Honor the Prince, which is 4 to charge in. Plus, if I have say like other, yeah, there's just like it's so easy to go through the CP, right? So. And also, yeah, that's right. What was I thinking holds 40? I think I'm thinking the Mastodon. Yeah, bring a Mastodon. 1,000 points or something. I think that holds 40. Yeah. Strategic Reserve sucks. Well, it doesn't suck. Like, it's definitely got its uses, but True Deep Strike's better. So, I don't know, like 2CP to have them come on like a very limited set of board edges. It's definitely good in like certain situations. Like I could see a situation in like a game where actually my new list has the list I'm actually gonna be running this all in has Magnus in it. So it's Magnus. Here's the list. So it's Magnus, an Exalted Sorcerer, on disc, Terminator Sorcerer, 2 units of 5 Rubrics. That's the Thousand Suns part. And then yeah, so that's the Thousand Suns part. And then in the Emperor's Children detachment, I have the Apostle, a Sorcerer, 10 Noise Marines, the Dreadclaw. I have 10 Terminators, the Leviathan, and a Contemptor, I think. Something like that. So, and that starts with 6 CP. So, I mean, so I've seen the leaked images. Whether that's like, it seems pretty official to me, but I would have thought GW would have like revealed it already, because usually nowadays when their potato cam shit comes out, which that is, they usually are pretty good about like the next day like saying, hey, okay, we got this box. So I'm surprised actually that we haven't seen anything from Games Workshop basically officially confirming it. So until that happens, I guess I'm a little bit suspect if it's actually official, because I would imagine that they would have confirmed it by now. Do you think it's fully legit? Like, are you guys fully convinced that it's legit? Someone said there's a plastic Leviathan in it too. I don't know if that's true. You guys know anything about that? See, the Blood Angels trim definitely makes it look a lot more chaosy, eh? I think that's the right choice. And it's kind of 1,000 subsy, I guess. You know, kind of fancy. Yeah, what do the Spartans even do? I don't think I've ever like even really looked at them. Aren't they like, are those the ones that are like anti-aircraft? Or are those the transport ones? Like the 30k transport tanks? Like, am I getting them mixed up, my tanks? Yeah, man, I never loved Night Lords. Just couldn't do it. I did read the books though by Aaron Dempsey Bowden, like the Night Lords trilogy. That was a great trilogy. That actually made me like them a lot more than I did. Well, and I use the word read lightly. I listened to the audiobooks while I painted. It's a pretty cool story, and he definitely gives them a lot of character. And the thing I like about it is it's like a lot of like a lot of like Chaos characters because it's obviously set fairly recently, like not in the current era, but it's like in the last few thousand, I would say 1,000 years. So like Huron Blackheart makes an appearance, Abaddon makes an appearance. They do a little work for Abaddon. He's in there. That kind of stuff. Oh, also the other conversion I had is I switched the head for the head from the Hellbrute, so it's got the kind of chaosy head. Yeah, that's right, Ray. Sorry. It's right before the 13th Black Crusade. I think the very final scene in the like the end of the trilogy, they're basically gathering for like a war council with Abaddon to like basically get the 13th Black Crusade on the go. Or something like that. It's kind of a cool storyline though. Yeah, I won't spoil too much, but there's some human characters in it, which is what I'll say, and they're very like a big part of the story, and I always like it when they incorporate like strong human characters, and the human characters are like super fucked up too, so it's kind of great in that sense. And the audiobook is great because the narrator here, actually, you know what, I'll play you guys a little bit of the audiobook. I don't know if hopefully I don't get a DMCA, but fuck it. And you can listen to like I wonder, so what's a good one? Voidstalker. Here, let's see if this works.
Hopes you've enjoyed this program.
Oh no, hold on. Okay, that goes down. Let's see here. Chapters. Let's listen a little bit. It's the audiobook.
Chapter 7. Deadlock. First Claw had one chance to survive the next few minutes, and they reached for it with everything they had left. The four of them hurled their weight forwards as one, shoulder charging in a mass of midnight armor. Talos and Mercutian bore the responsibility of the vanguard, and both of them thudded this.
Oh, I was just muted there. I said we don't have to actually listen to it, but I just want to give you guys a little taste of the audiobook. Did you guys? Did anyone check out my Death Guard painting video? Any feedback? What do you guys think? I'd love to hear from anyone that maybe watched it. If you guys like the format, I'm still kind of figuring out how I want to. Like, painting videos in general, the reason it took me so long is because they fucking take a while. Especially the way that I like to do them, which is, like, lots of, like, non-painting stuff. Like, there's lots of, like, there's, like, some storyline in there. There's, like, a little bit of, like, audio clips, artwork, background stuff. So that's kind of, like, how I like to do them. But, like, what do you guys think? Do you think that... Do you like that kind of stuff? Should I just skip that and just go straight to the painting? I don't know. I really enjoyed, like, putting in cool clips of, like, Nurgle and stuff like that in there. Yeah, I watch on Twitch. That's why the YouTube video goes on YouTube. Same. Thanks for subscribing, man. So yeah, if you did end up watching the Death Guard painting video, let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys liked, didn't like. I'm still trying to figure out like things like, even things like camera angles is still something I'm not super happy with. I feel like it could be better, you know? Okay, my goal is to finish this trim, and then when I'm done the trim, I'm gonna let me head out here. So I wonder if I put all the chaos trim that I've ever painted, like in a line, how long that line would be. Like if I put it end to end, it'd probably like go to like New York or something. I feel like something crazy like that. That'd be actually a really great. Oh, I really want to do that. Like measure the average amount of trim on a Chaos Space Marine, and then like figure out like how long that is, and then multiply that by the amount of Chaos Space Marines that I painted, and see kind of the length of the line of Chaos Trim I painted. That'd be kind of a cool experiment. What do you guys think? Should I do that and get back to you? Take me like 3 years to calculate. Okay, that's gold. Let's say these little guys gold. So Texas Night Lords, I've never painted Night Lords. I've painted just about I've painted every other chapter: Alpha Legion, Black Legion, Death Guard, Thousand Suns, World Eaters. So the only chapter I've never actually painted a Marine for is Night Lords. So that's probably the answer. Yeah, that's probably the answer. I don't know, they just seem like very like kind of almost boring. Their like unique thing is like they're scary. Ooh. Okay, cool. Like fucking the Chaos Legions are fucking scary, man. Like welcome to the club, you know? It just feels a little bit like you know, and they're very like, yeah, I don't know. That's probably why. Well, I've painted 2 Helldrakes for commissions, Shane, and I have 1 more in my closet still unassembled. So it'll be 3, probably, because I'm probably gonna paint one for my Thousand Suns at some point. But yeah, I painted 3. Is the answer. Two was I lied, guys. The 2 Helldrakes that I did were in Night Lords. So I actually have painted were for the Night Lords. So I actually have painted Night Lords. But those were for a commission that I did for someone. I've just never painted Night Lords for myself. So that's interesting. Okay, and then just one more piece of trim. It's going to be the head, basically. So I think I'm going to do this whole thing in gold. This little halo. But yeah. Yeah, dude, that's too like ghetto. That's too like Bush League ghetto tricks for me. Why? I don't know if I can do it, man. I don't have the ancient Chinese techniques, man. I got the Persian techniques. The Persian techniques forbid the use of Sharpies. You know what I was thinking as I was converting my Noise Marines, though? I was like, well, I guess I will never be able to play these at a Games Workshop event. And I actually don't really care because I don't really plan to go to those events. I don't think they're going to be good. Sorry, I think there's enough other events that I don't ever need to go to a Games Workshop event. But, and honestly, like, yeah, hopefully by the time I ever decide to go, they actually have new Noise Marines, and I paint a unit of the new Noise Marines. 36 Chamber, thanks for following, man. Appreciate it. Alright. Alright, so I think that's it, guys. So I think we made some good progress, because I basically screamed at you guys for the first 45 minutes of this, and it's been an hour and 45. So in an hour, we got all the airbrushing done, and I base coated all the trim. So I think that's pretty good. Go Jimbo. So that's going to be our progress for tonight. My Thousand Suns Leviathan. And obviously, what I do next is I'm going to go in and... yeah, sorry. These are the Noise Marines. They're over here, off camera. And I just didn't want to paint them in the end. just too much work. I don't have enough time because I end up spending 45 minutes of my podcast basically screaming at a bunch of people that lied about me. So I think what I'm going to do is leave it there. Normally the next step, what I'd do is I'd go in with my Drakenhof Nightshade and actually shade all the gold and also shade into all the cracks and redefine all the blue and then actually finish the blue. So I kind of skip ahead here with the trim, shade all the shaded this, and then actually probably what I'll do is the metal and shade that, and then I'll start the blue, but cleaning up all that, edge highlights, all that stuff. This is what I love about painting Dreadnoughts. They're so quick to paint. Like literally what I'm gonna do next is paint all this in silver, give that a wash, a little dry brush, fucking trim, edge highlights, and like a little detail, and you're basically done. So anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the stream. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for everyone that stuck around for the first 45 minutes to listen to me rant about all the liars, haters, and other people out there that are coming after me. Hopefully I was able to get my truth out and what I think is the truth of the events. And you know, you guys ultimately can believe who you want, but as far as I'm concerned, I made my case. And anyone that tries to, you know, if anyone has beef out there with me or something that I've done wrong, please just come talk to me and we'll talk it out. But don't go and do a whole slanderous podcast episode on me when I didn't instigate anything. So all right, guys, happy Friday, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Back for competitive corner on Monday. So we'll be talking then. Cheers.